Right, so I visited Knepp State the other day, and it's nice there. It's a very nice place to go if you're looking for a good space out in the world, the countryside to look at. Definitely recommend Knepp State. Very nice. Mainly just a walk around site. Wasn't looking particularly at for any species in particular. I did see the storks though. We went on one of the the big oaks they've got. You can go up and look at, and I managed to spot 4 nests. Well, 3 nests and one tree that was in the middle of loads of them on. So you had 2 nests, and then you had the tree next to it, which had a dozen storks on, and then you had another nest next to it. And then this, along with discussions I was having with people at the time, kind of started to make me think, should we be reintroducing storks? Here's why I come to this. So, what's the point of reintroduction? We're bringing in old species that have died out in the past, usually because of stupid decisions we made, like the beaver's fur. We overhunt the beavers from fur, we killed all of them, and they went extinct. So now we want to reintroduce them because people like beavers, they're cute, they help with rivers, they're ecological engineers, so they kind of create their own habitats because of their actions, and they're just great. It's good to have for that, which is why people want to reintroduce them. But obviously there's lots of arguments for and against that, but I'm not talking about beavers today, that's just an example. But the storks, similar to the beavers, they were native. I don't know exactly why they went extinct. My guess is that Victorians hunted them because they looked exotic, because it's usually Victorians' fault when it comes to these things. But yeah, they went extinct and they're being reintroduced. They've been reintroduced in Knepp and they're flourishing. In fact, their populations are skyrocketing almost. Because I remember even when they were released there a few years back, there was only a couple of them. But now, even on just that tree that I saw, there was over a dozen of them. There were so many of them. And they started to spread out towards Kent. Now, problem this has caused is that storks are very aggressive predators. What they've been doing is, because there's a lot of them, because they hunt so much, they've caused a decline in the amphibian species around Kent. So what has happened? They've reintroduced these storks to this area. They've started to do really well, and now they're negatively affecting not just one species in particular, but a whole group of them. So why? What? I mean, in defense of Knepp, they're introducing a new species. They probably couldn't have predicted how well they would do, and they probably didn't consider if we reintroduce these, amphibians will heavily decline. No. But I think it definitely is a good example of how careful we need to be with reintroductions. Because, people always throw out the idea of, we should reintroduce beavers, farmers don't know what they're on about. Farmers will be like, if I see a beaver, I'm going to shoot him. But, again, beavers are a whole different can of worms. But with predatory species in particular, we need to be very careful, because we don't want... If we're doing this to increase biodiversity, there's not really much point introducing one species that's going to cause the decline of lots of other species. Amphibians are already in decline over the UK. You got great crested newts that are protected, require specific licenses. Smooth newts are quite widespread, but even so, they're declining. Toads, frogs, they're all declining because many reasons, lack of breeding ponds, because they're all being counterflots being built over them, shit like that. Roads kill them all the time. Breaking up of ecosystems, so many different factors. So bringing in these storks that hunt these amphibians makes me have even more of a difficult time. And the difference is, the storks aren't really native anymore. Technically they still are, but I can't remember who exactly told me. Somebody gave me a good example of this. If you've got a native, so when we broke away from, well, say you've got an island, it's got no species on it, or say it's got no mammal species on it, and you introduce rats to it. Is that rat then natural? No. But if it stays there long enough, it becomes natural. I don't know where I'm going with this, to be honest. But the point is, you've got a species that was native to an older version of our countryside. If you reintroduce that species to a new version of it, should it still be native? I think there's definitely a good argument. Good argument there, definitely. But for me personally, I'm a bit biased because I'm like an amphibian and reptile person. That's the main thing I like. That's the main thing I know about. But I don't think we should be introducing species that could have a negative impact like this. Like wolves. On one hand, oh yeah, we need something to hunt deer. Because deer populations, we need to control them. Otherwise they will just decimate our woodland. Maybe not decimate them if they're full of trees, because they obviously can't really kill trees, but they'll eat all the brambles, they'll rob the birds of all their nesting opportunities, they'll trample the crap out of there, they'll eat fucking everything, all the bluebells, anything can get their jaws around pretty much. So we need to control them because there aren't any big predators to do that. But a solution to this would be reintroducing wolves. But obviously, we're not going to do that, probably, at least in the near future, because not only is there a threat to people, but also farmers. Well, farmers aren't going to stand for their sheep and their cattle and their calves and their horses and their ponies and their goats, whatever the hell they've got. Wolves will target them. If not when they're adults, then they'll target the young. And farmers aren't going to sit by and let that happen. They're just going to shoot them. So obviously, reintroducing wolves, we wouldn't do that because they threaten our livestock. So why aren't we thinking the same when it comes to our native species? Especially since we're doing this for biodiversity. Why would we introduce species that negatively affects that? Like, I don't know. I mean, we've introduced species that impact our native species before, but the problem with them is that this was really before we started thinking about biodiversity and things like that. Like with the Victorians, they just wanted, Spanish bluebell, just bigger bluebell, a lot. Grey squirrel, they're cute. Variety. They didn't think about that. They just were like, that thing looks cute, or that thing looks pretty. Yeah, let's bring that in. And the effect it's had. Like, in the spring, but walking around the downs, the amount of bloody Spanish bluebell I saw was ridiculous. Most of the time, I was sitting there, I didn't even know if I was looking at an English or a hybrid. And it was just like, most of the time I thought it was a hybrid. Only really in like ancient woodlands and other particular areas known for their English bluebells, where I know what that is. But yeah, I just thought it was nice to have a chat about that because I wanted to get it off my chest. It's something I've been thinking about recently. I just thought, put my thoughts on the table, see what you lot think. Let me know what you think about this because I think it's definitely good to get the conversation going. It's very difficult to find a right or wrong answer when it comes to ecology. There's lots of differing opinions. Some people have biases. Some people like birds. Some people like me, like amphibians and reptiles. But at the same time, even birders, like bird experts, think that introducing a stork is a bad idea. So, yeah. If you like the video, like it, subscribe, like YouTube stuff. But yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.